Starting January 13th, the S&P market shot up as forecasted. Today's January 21, and the market came up about 4.8% so far. We're still expecting the same basic storyline, that the market will rally until the end of the month and then have a rough February, go down into early March. The cycles that we're looking at, of course, there are many of them, but what you need to do is filter out which ones are real and which ones aren't. And it turns out the 49-week cycle times 3, or 147 weeks ago, has been and continues to be repeating beautifully. It called this little hook bottom, and it called the rally, and it's in progress. It's not finished. And also we have the 54-week multiples, and we have 3 cycles of that, 162 weeks and double that, about 6 of them, 324 weeks. They're both repeating the same pattern as this present market, and they both imply a high in the late part of January or early February. Okay, the high could come out as late as February 4th, according to the 54-week pattern. And then it looks like February is going to be rough. It looks like we could see a 10% or greater breakdown in the market in February, and it should end in March, have a bounce in March, and go down further into May. So we have a corrective wave that's in progress that started in December. We don't expect new highs on the S&P, although the futures may make a new high just to get the stops. And the Dow isn't likely, and the S&P cash isn't likely either. So on the and so what you need to know right now is that you want to be buying dips. We said that there would be a dip between the 16th and the 20th, and superficially it doesn't look like it was, but if you look at a 5-minute bar chart, there actually was a correction that started on the 16th, had a rally, a B-wave rally, until the 19th, collapsed on the 20th, 100 S&P points overnight, in the middle of the night, completing the C wave of that decline, and then the rally started up again, which was expected. This video is primarily for swing traders, and for longer term viewpoint, you can go back and look at the last video, and for day trading, just emphasize the fact that you should be buying dips until the end of the month. Also, I wanted you to realize astrologically, there's another cycle that we saw come in, just happened on the 20th, that Venus and Saturn were conjunct. And Venus and Saturn are conjunct roughly once a year. But if you look back at the last year, and 2 years ago, and 3 years ago, and 4 years ago, in each case, and Saturn is pretty much in the same place it was during those intervals, the market had a topping pattern and fell down pretty hard, at least for a month. And you can see those in this chart. So the Venus-Saturn cycle and the 147 week cycle, interestingly enough, line up almost exactly. 3 cycles of the Venus-Saturn interval come out March 28th of 2022, where the high was, a day or two before the high, indicating we're near a high based on that. The 147 indicates we're going to have a high at the end of the month of January. So this is likely to be the case. If you look at the 2022 market, it had a pretty nice break. And the multiples of the 54-week cycle, 3 times it and 6 times it, are both calling for high early February. So the last week of January, early February, is probably the place that the turn will take place, and it should move on its way down fairly nastily. In the 2018 market, it had a very strong break. That one came down into the Christmas low in 2018. And we seem to be on track for these particular events. So there's no real surprises here so far. You should always recognize there's a possibility of anything happening, We're looking at other cycles, very low probability that the 1987 pattern in January is repeating, and that was an extremely strong rally, and that did not have much of a February decline. It continued higher into March. We say there's about a 10% chance of that. But the market behavior and the market cycles and the shorter term cycles, they're strengthening the thinking, the probabilities of a high in January and then a continued downtrend that started in December and should end in May. Okay. Now I wanted to remind you, we started a trade forecast mastery course just a few days ago on Sunday, and the class is a remarkably good one. The students are unusually familiar with the market and talented, and it's a great interaction that we're having, and I think everybody's gratified that they're taking the class. And you can still jump in this week. I'm not going to have a next session until Sunday. So between now and Sunday, it's still possible to jump in if you want to. You just consider the link below and you'll see an opportunity to get an interview with me and we can talk about it. I don't take everybody in this thing. I want people who are really interested in how the market actually works. Okay? All right. Have a good trading week and we'll see you soon.